thing. And let me discuss the energy hierarchy. All right. Here it is. The energy hierarchy. When your body, when your body is fully charged and you get all the calories you need, your glycogen is going to be stored in your liver, converted from carbohydrates and whatever, and in your muscle tissue. And if you eat some fats and extra proteins and extra fats, then the shit's going to be turned into ketones, and then they're going to share space in your liver and your muscle as energy. And then over time, those ketones are going to be converted. It is my belief, anyways, those ketones are going to be converted into glycogen and or glucose. That's a new one. People don't really know about that yet. Okay, and then that's for maintenance calories. Now, throughout the day, if you do get more calories, right? If you do get more calories, then all that excess is going to be any carbs that you take in excess converted to fat, stored as fat, because the glycogen tanks are full. They're full up with ketones and glycogen already. So that's going to be converted to fat, stored as fat. And the extra protein you get, well, if your muscles, the ripped muscle, mind you, when you rip a muscle, it's going to become protein sensitive and amino acid sensitive, bcaas sensitive. So all the proteins you eat are going to stick to that muscle to a certain degree, and once you've hit that threshold, your body no longer needs any more protein. So any extra protein you get, well, your body's going to convert that to fat, stored as fat. Any extra fat you get is going to be converted to fat, stored as fat. Essentially, any extra calories over your maintenance you get is going to be converted to fat, stored as fat. All right? And, all right, so that's what happens when you are in a caloric surplus. Now, when you are in a caloric deficit, here are the hierarchies. Your body is going to, let's say the next day, you're all full on everything. The next day, you do some physical activity. You wake up. You're alive. You're sitting in a chair. Your body is going to burn glycogen for energy. It will get this glycogen from your muscle tissues or from your liver, and it will supply it directly to your brain and to your torso. If you are sitting in a sitting position, it will use that for energy, and it will feed your brain to think and to function and to send signals to the muscles, okay? It'll keep doing this. Let's say a day goes by and you don't get any food. Well, your glycogen tank is going to be at the halfway point now. And what your body does, as it gets closer and closer to the halfway point, it's going to burn through the glycogen for energy, of course, and it's also going to burn through fat for energy. And that fat that gets burned, before it's burned, and what's happening when I use the word burn, the fat is going to be converted into ketones if it's a ketogenic fatty acid, and it's also going to be converted, and this is directly from your tissue. It's grabbing fat off of your body, and it's converting it into ketones, because there's space in your glycogen tanks now because they're half empty. And it's also, if it's a ketogenic fatty acid stored in your body, it's going to be turned to ketones. If it's a glucogenic fatty acid, it's going to be turned to glucose and then into glycogen, or vice versa. And then the ketones that are sitting in the tank that have just been converted to ketones, it's my belief that these ketones are slowly converted into glucose and or glycogen. Okay? I didn't mention ATP. ATP is what I believe is a refined version of glycogen. That's burned even quicker before you even start getting into your glycogen tanks in your liver and your muscle. Your ATP is going to be burned out fast. And I believe that the ATP is stored in the muscle and in the liver as well. So you can consider ATP a super high-powered fuel source above glycogen. So you burn ATP first, then glycogen. So let's get back on topic here. And then after you've burned close to halfway through your glycogen, ATP is gone, then you're going to start burning more fat and a little bit more muscle. Muscle is third in the hierarchy, fourth if you're counting ATP. So first ATP, second glycogen, and then you start getting into fat, and then you start burning a teeny little bit of muscle. And these hierarchies remain constant until you've burned through a significant amount of glycogen, and let's say your glycogen tank is very low and you haven't eaten in 2 days, then you start burning through a lot more fat and a significant amount more muscle. But it's all, the ratios remain relative as far as percentage-wise. I think ratio is a good word for it. At a certain percentage, it's like an exponential increase among everything. So your glycogen tank gets very low, and exponentially your fat is burned at a higher rate, and exponentially your muscle is burned at a higher rate, but still more fat than muscle. Okay, so that's that energy hierarchy. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Now, I hope I'm covering everything here. Let's see. Yeah, that's that. Oh, and then, of course, I've talked about this before. This song and dance that I've been explaining here happens no matter what your body fat is, all the way till you get down to about 10% body fat. Then the hierarchy starts to change, and you start to burn more muscle than fat, because fat becomes more valuable to your body. So your body says, okay, this is what we call essential body fat. If we go any lower, we're in danger. We can't make hormones properly. We can't make this, and that properly. We can't survive properly. And it starts saying, you know what, hormones are important, because we don't just need hormones to build muscle. We need hormones to fight diseases. We need hormones to fight illnesses. We need hormones to regulate metabolic function. We need hormones for all this stuff. So when you get under 10% body fat, your body says, okay, the little fat we have left is way more important than all this muscle you work so hard to build. So what we're going to do, we're going to start eating that muscle way faster. So we're changing the hierarchy on your ass. We're going to start, as soon as our glycogen gets low enough, and it's already low, instead of hitting that fat first, we're going to hit the muscle first. We're going to burn through a significantly higher amount of muscle and a lot more muscle, and then a little tiny bit of fat, if even any. We're still going to hit that fat a little bit, but it's just so important that we maintain that fat. We're going to burn through muscle first, and that's when you hit about that 10% body fat mark and go lower. And the lower you go, the more muscle your body's going to want to burn. So to mitigate this, what you want to do is, well, essentially bump your calories up. You know, make sure that you're taking in enough dietary fat through your diet. That way your body doesn't need to hold on to your body fat as much. You're telling your body, it's okay, we've got fat in our diet. If you're getting a lot of protein, essentially just up your calories, because protein that you eat can be turned into fat. You know, it can be turned into fat. So that's that. Carbs you eat can be turned into fat. So you let your body know it's okay by upping your calories. And this whole song and dance, it's like you're getting backed into a corner. It's like, okay, well how do I get lower in body fat? Essentially, you can't get too low. And people say an athlete can't get any lower than 6%. I believe that, because you might fucking die. And not just a natural. Why am I even saying natural? If you're on steroids, your body doesn't want to go below 6%, because you could die. You could die. Hormones are very important, and if you don't have enough fat on you, your body's not going to know when it's going to get its next meal. It's got to take precautions and save fat, and it's got to make sure to save fat. So that's why you essentially sort of hit a wall, and your body won't lose any more fat. Your metabolism will dig its heels into the ground and slow the fuck down. Your metabolism will slow down to save your life. So you'll start burning less calories. You'll have less energy. Okay, so that's that part of the energy hierarchy. Let me also explain. Okay, so hopefully I've explained all of that and how that works. Now, finally, let's go back a little bit here. Let's go back to, okay, things are comfortable. You're at about 14-15% body fat. And let's say, I just want to throw this in there so I get to cover everything in this recording here. Let's say you worked out one day, you lifted weights, and your muscle tissue that you ripped, let's say in your back, became more protein sensitive. So it's like, okay, let's get some protein from our diet. Your body's craving protein. It knows it needs protein because later on tonight it's going to make hormones to rebuild your back muscles that you ripped. But let's say, for example, you don't get any protein. You don't get any amino acids or bcaas from the protein because you're not getting any protein. Let's say that happens. Okay, a question that's crossed my mind many times, and probably many other people's minds, is, well, what's your body going to do? How's it going to act? What's your body going to say? What's your body going to do? It's going to say, well, you didn't give me any proteins to stick to those muscle fibers that needed to rebuild in my back. So where am I going to get this protein? Where's it going to come from? Right? Right? So what's it going to do? Well, it's got a couple of things it can do. It can just say, all right, fuck it. I'm not getting rebuilt. You didn't give me any protein, so we're not going to make any gains, and we're going to lose muscle. Muscle's going to be compromised because there's nothing to work with here. And the muscle's got to sew itself back together without any protein. So that usually means you're not going to just not gain muscle. You're not going to stay the same and status quo. You're going to lose strength because when you rip something and you don't give it what it needs to repair and it's got to sew itself back together, that means you lose strength. Things get compromised. So, and thought that might arise is, well, maybe your body will burn protein from other parts of your body, like your chest muscles. Maybe to heal your back, your body will burn muscle off your chest and put it into your back. No, I don't think so. I've thought about this for a long time, and I think that from an energy conservation standpoint and from a efficiency standpoint, your body would choose to keep the muscles where they are in your chest and leave them alone, and just allow your back to muscles to be compromised that day. That's what I believe, and I hope I covered everything. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
All right, and then just to add to that, okay, and then I want to cover glycogen and ketone allocation. Just kind of a common sense thing. If you have, let's say, your energy is stored in your muscles and in your upper everywhere and in your liver in the form of ketones and glycogen. Let's say you go running. The muscle is the glycogen is in your leg muscles. You burn it up through your leg muscles from running. Your leg muscles have depleted their glycogen and ATP. So then what happens is it allocates. So the glucose or the glycogen and or ATP in your chest, shoulders, and in your liver, it breaks loose using glucagon or something of that nature, and then it allocates to your legs. And that process happens over a period of time. And that's how energy allocation, ATP, ketone, and or glycogen allocation occurs. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.